Hello loves, welcome back to TigeraGitana. Today we are going to be doing the full moon in Scorpio that's coming up on April 27, 2021. So we're going to be doing the breakdown as well as a spell guide and looking at the messages. I did pull some cards for us for additional guidance. So let's get right into it. We have the sun, which will be in Taurus, moon in Scorpio, Mercury and Venus will be in Taurus. Mars would have moved into Cancer by now. Jupiter will be in Aquarius, Saturn will be in Aquarius, Uranus will be in Taurus, Neptune will be in Pisces, and Pluto will be in Capricorn, okay? And so there's definitely a lot of stuff, a lot of energies going on for this particular moon. And I do feel like it's important to just kind of like break it all down. So starting, we're going to look at the main aspects and then we're going to pull in the oracle cards as we go along. I also pulled, I asked Santa Muerte to give me some additional messages as far as like the energy we should be focusing on, because I feel like anytime that the moon is in Scorpio, I like to connect with Santa Muerte. Just to work with the death energy and do some releasing work. So I did ask for that additional guidance. So we will be discussing that as well. So first and foremost, the sun will be in an opposition to the moon. So this is where we find the sun being in Taurus, moon being in Scorpio. They're both fixed energies, okay? And that's what I want you guys to understand about this. The sun will be in a fixed sign, fixed Taurus sign. Moon will be in Scorpio, which is also a fixed sign. The difference between Taurus energy and Scorpio energy is that Scorpio rules death, transformation, the occult, diving in deeper, the unknown, okay, the unconscious mind. It is a very, very transformative sign. Taurus could not be further from what Scorpio is as a sign. They're both fixed energies. They're both fixed signs. Fixed signs just means that fixed signs don't like to budge. They like things in a certain kind of routine. They like to do things in certain ways, have a particular way about them, and they keep to their, like, you know, their habits and stuff for the most part. However, some of the fixed signs are pushed into evolving themselves. Those signs are mainly Scorpio and Aquarius, a little bit of Leo sometimes, but Taurus is the most stubborn out of all of the fixed signs. So there is a little bit more work that has to be done with the Taurus energy. And so we have this opposition with our emotional energy being really reactive to our ego and making us aware. And it does come up in the cards as well, making us aware like, hey, okay, I understand that there's a lot of things going on in our lives, but how are we still going to be dealing with this toxic relationship? Is this something that is still going to be something that we continue to entertain? When you know it's not right for you, when you know it's not meant for you, are we going to keep trying to make something work that is not working? And so the moon in Scorpio energy comes through and says, we can do better, we can evolve, we can transform, we can heal, we can grow. How are we bringing balance into the situation? How are you emotionally tapping in, okay? And using the moon in Scorpio to water the earth that Taurus is like really founded on. Like, what are you bringing to the table at this point? How are you fertilizing your own garden, your own life's garden? And so it's a very powerful time to self-reflect and to hold yourself to task, to hold that mirror up to your face and say, you know what? I need to stop playing myself. I need to stop doing this because this has not been a healthy thing that I have continuously put myself in, and I don't want to do this anymore. So there is this kind of sense and push towards working smarter, not harder, and allowing yourself to emotionally detox from certain things that have been just draining to your spirit, to your soul, to your journey as well, because you know, Sun in Taurus is the second step, the second journey that Aries goes through as he moves through each astrological sign. It's a second step. So you have this highlight on the value, what we value. And it gets to the point where the question becomes, do you value yourself more than the situations that are actively toxic in your life that you know do not value you back? That could be family relationships, that can be actual relationship, friendships, a work environment, so many different things that you need to make sure that you are hyper aware about, so you're not giving them the light of day and then holding space for stuff that's just not meant for you at the end of the day. We have the sun in a conjunction with Mercury, and the sun also in a conjunction with Venus. And the reason why this is, and also the sun is in conjunction with Uranus, is because all of them are in Taurus. So that means that all of these planets, because they're in Taurus, they're like, oh, think of it as like a team, okay? Think of it like you're in school and they're splitting up the like gymnasium. Half of the gym is going to be team red, the other half is going to be team blue. Okay, so basically when you have this conjunction energy like this, that just means that you have more, those people on your team, you know who you're playing with, you know what personality they're bringing to the table, you know what energy they're bringing to the table, you know how they're going to be triggering, and they're all working together to win, right? That's the whole point. You have this alignment to be like, okay, let's all team up. What can you bring to the table? What can you bring to the table? This is how we're going to win, because we're collectively working together. So you have the sun in conjunction with Mercury, in alignment with Mercury, in alignment with Venus, okay? Mercury, which is a planet of communication, the conscious mind. Venus, which is a planet of love, pleasure, money, okay? And then Uranus was just the planet of the unexpected change, the higher conscious mind, the upgrades, the self-evolution, and also generational evolution as well. And so we do have like our ego actively working with all of these other planets, saying, okay, ego, how are you consciously looking at your pleasure, your love, your money, and focusing more on yourself? And Uranus is sitting there like, okay, how are you upgrading yourself? Are you consciously aware of what needs to be done, the work that you need to do, the things that you need to apply in order for you to be successful, in order for you to be grounded and be in a solid place, for you to be happy, X, Y, Z, and B? How are we actively getting the ego, your sun's energy, your ego, your solar plexus energy? How are we getting that in a good place so you're not like lost in the sauce and, you know, feeling like you can't be in those spaces, or you're never going to be happy, or you're struggling with this or X, Y, Z, and B? Like, how are you actively reactive to those energies, and how are you trying to calibrate them? How are you trying to balance them out? So you do have these conjunctions there, setting up the little party, the tea time, to be like, okay, we're all bringing this to the table. You're going to make me go through this experience. You're going to be triggering me in this way. And it is all for this purpose. It's all for this evolutionary purpose. So it all comes and has a reason and a meaning and a how, okay? And so for those who are Tauruses, and I actively recommend making sure that you're looking at your Taurus placements, okay? Where Taurus is in your chart, which house it falls in, because you're going to see, especially with Uranus is a generational planet, so it's affecting a lot of us generationally, with where it is in your chart. So where Taurus energy is in your chart is where you're going to see a lot of this activity, especially with this energy, with these conjunctions on this moon, okay? So I want to make sure that you guys look at your own chart and reflect on those transits as well. We's on a roll. Okay, the next one is Sun square Saturn, okay? And this is one of those times where it's gonna feel like slightly like you're running out of time, okay? And I know that sounds a little bit scary because the sun will be in Taurus, and sun, and then Saturn is in Aquarius. So there is this sense of upgrading your thinking, upgrading your values, upgrading what you think is pleasurable, because that's what Taurus rules. Taurus rules the values. What do you value? And how are you enjoying the things that you value at the end of the day? And so Saturn is saying, okay, but what has become a waste of time? Where have you accumulated some karma that you now egotistically, like your ego needs to go ahead and like revisit those areas in order for you to actively be happier and move in, like, as far as more focus moving forward? Like, where have you created stagnation between your own life and your own root chakra space, that now it needs to be like, okay, you've wasted time on that relationship is never going to work, and you know that, so cut it out. This person doesn't wish the best for you, so I don't care if you've been friends with them for like like 10, 11 years. Saturn does not care, because he's the planet of time. So at the end of the day, like, if something has like expired, like if the food has gone bad, he wants you to throw it out. And like, imagine saving food that's gone spoiled in your fridge for like 11 years. That's what you're doing to some of the areas of your life that you need to revisit. And so Saturn is going to be triggering that to your ego, and it's going to say, okay, we're going to shake up your root chakra a little bit. I need you to upgrade your thinking. It's that Aquarian energy. I need you to actually look deeper into these areas and say, it's like, I'm cleaning house. This is spring cleaning, and I cannot continue to, I cannot continue to give this my time or my energy, because it's just not going to work. So this is spiritual spring cleaning, period. The moon is in opposition, okay, to Mercury and to Venus, and also to Uranus as well. And the reason why you see this opposition here is the same reason why you see the sun opposing the moon, because you see this moon being in Scorpio, and those other planets are in Taurus. And so there is this little bit of a friction there when it comes to emotionally being aware of what needs to change. Because when you have conjunctions, you have the support of those planets. But then when you have oppositions, you're like, your moon, your emotional energy knows that something needs to be done, knows that something needs to be changed. It's not like you can sit there and say, I'm perfectly fine, everything is perfectly okay. Like, that's just not how it works. You know that there's some areas that you actually need to revisit and finalize some things in. And if you do not put yourself down to do that work, you're just going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck. You're going to feel frustrated emotionally, and you're going to get triggered on this specific new moon in Scorpio, because it's so watery, and because Scorpio takes you down to the depths of your own soul. It's going to be at a core level. You're going to feel that something is wrong and something is off. So you're going to need to like revisit and tap in, because if you notice that, also the thing about this specific moon is that if you notice that your spell work, or if you have noticed any stagnation within your spells, this is probably the reason why. You're going to have to revisit some of those areas, some of those blockages during this specific moon, because the moon in Scorpio is just going to highlight a lot of the energies, a lot of the things that need to be changed and shifted, because there has been a stagnation that has been built up, and now is the time to kind of shake that up. And so you see the moon like saying, no, I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna emotionally trigger the hell out of you, because you think you're just that you're good, but you're really not. And it's really time to revisit those areas and clean. It's a clean house. It's clean house right now. The moon is in a trine with Mars, okay? And the moon is also in a trine with Jupiter, okay? So really, really, really beautiful time to be emotionally connected to your manifestation. I cannot stress that enough, okay? I cannot stress that enough. Especially now that the moon, that Mars is in Cancer. Mars in Cancer works a little bit better than Mars in Gemini. I'm going to just let you know right now. Mars in Cancer is way more focused on the nurturing aspect of what is needed. What do you need? And because the moon is in this trine with Mars, and Mars is all about that passion, and Cancer is just going to bring that nourishment. If you actually sit down with yourself and say, okay, I need to reevaluate, you're actually going to be able to tap into that passionate side of you, where you'll be able to see where you need nourishment and where something has not been giving you that nourishment, in order to cut that stuff out. So it's a really, really, really beautiful trine. Moon trine Jupiter is great for emotional manifestation, okay? So moon in Scorpio is always a good time to work with your womb space, okay? So this is some sacral chakra magic, okay? Great time to do some sensual sacral magic is what I'm gonna call it, so I don't get demonetized on YouTube. So great time to do that. Great time to do a spiritual bath, spiritual cleansing, okay? Because it's a great time to tap into the water element, especially if you end up having to go through an emotional release, more than anything else. If you emotionally need to release versus like, physically you're telling someone to F off, like if you just emotionally need to like bawl it out, cry it out, and go through that process yourself, or even spiritually just release those things, then you're going to be able to have like that opening where you can like actually successfully release. And because you've made space, you can then bring more things to your life. You can then, again, what I said earlier, if you've been having some issues manifesting lately, like with your spell work, you're going to see that this specific moon is going to like alleviate and remove some of those blockages, because it's almost like there hasn't been space. You haven't made space for those things to come in, and so they've been blocked by your own stagnation. So that's why. The moon will be in a square with Saturn. And wait. And Mercury will also be in a square with Saturn. I wrote my notes like and Mercury will also be in a square with Saturn. So there is this there's an awareness consciously of what's going on, especially with how time has been wasted, how people have used you as well. You'll be able to kind of see the two sides to every story, because that Aquarian energy, the detachment that like Saturn, just because he's in Aquarius right now, you're going to be able to see and detach and see like, okay, it's been like this many years and this person has always done this to me. This has always been a toxic behavior. This has always been something that I personally have not been in alignment with. And I think it's time for me to like release this. I think it's time for me to like accept that this is not good. This is not a good thing that's in my life. So there is a consciousness and an emotional consciousness when it comes to reevaluating the things that has been triggering your root chakra for quite some time. So which is really, really, really good. And I'm really glad that we're seeing more of that alignment there, more of that like self-awareness, where you're like, because Taurus energy tends to be a little like, I don't want to change anything, I'm perfectly fine, even though they can be like emotionally wrecked from so many different sides. Like it's a really, really good time to do more of that work and be able to achieve that success without problem, without question, just by clearing up space for new things. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, we're getting close to the end, y'all. So the next one on here, we have Mercury in conjunction with Uranus. Okay, this is one of the things, okay, that I really, really like, especially when it comes to doing any type of meditation. So if you want to do some ancestor work, specifically if you're trying to do some ancestor healing, you can also do that. You can focus your spell work on looking at, doing death work, if that's what you want to do, ancestor work, healing generational trauma. You can do that as well. This is a really, really good moon to do that work in, especially because of this Mercury in conjunction with Uranus, okay? Because you have like your consciousness tap into that generational, those wounds that like Uranus really sitting in Taurus and saying, y'all got to change this. Y'all got to stop carrying this. This needs to stop being passed down like again and again and again and again. And how are you doing that? How are you doing that work? And so it consciously gives you that avenue of being able to connect and hold space and release and heal, and still go use that like Scorpio moon energy to release and transform and just bring that relief into within your root chakra, which again also taps in and connects to our ancestors. Venus will be in a square with Mars. Okay, I'm sorry. Venus will be in a square with Saturn. I said it backwards. And so this is one of those like aspects that tends to be a little bit irritating, okay? And the reason why I say that is because, Venus likes, it's all about like that pleasure energy and enjoying stuff. And then Saturn is just like, okay, I see that you're trying to enjoy yourself right now, but do you not see that the ship is burning? Like, are you trying to ignore that the ship is burning? How long are you going to continue to ignore that the ship is burning? And so there is like a triggering of your pleasure for this specific moon, where, the planets are actively asking you, like, are you just going to let the ship burn? Are you going to be comfortable with that? Are you still going to find, pleasure in, your ship literally burning down? So it highlights a lot of questions. It highlights a lot of things that need to be answered by you to spirit, like holding yourself accountable in that way. And it's almost like you can't really enjoy the specific moon until you actually do the releasing work that you need to do. It's like Saturn is not going to reward you with that feeling until you actually do the thing. Okay, it's like do and then I give, do and then I give. Okay. Mars is in a trine with Jupiter. Okay, this is a really, 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 really good aspect for actively, like when you're actually making choices and moving and, especially moving through your solar plexus space and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do. I'm going to act on this. I'm not going to act on this. I need to make a decision about this. I'm not going to make a decision about that. When you actively put yourself in that role where you like sit yourself down and say, okay, what are we acting on? What are we moving on? What is the game plan? Okay. That's when you see the blessings come in. Actions lead to blessings. Mars trine Jupiter. Actions lead to blessings, leads to knowledge, leads to understanding. Like when you're diving deeper, like let's say you are, you're in torment because you wanted to know if the person that you've been crushing on for like 6 months or whatever has feelings for you. You finally want to take the plunge to ask, just tell the person like, hey, I've had feelings for you for X, Y, Z, and B. And then they're like, oh my God, me too. Like you actually get rewarded from acting upon the things that you need to act upon, especially on an emotional level. You actually get rewarded from doing that work, from tapping and connecting. Also, this is a great aspect for networking in any kind. Like if you feel like you needed help, or let's say you wanted to reach out to someone, maybe there's someone that you feel like if you reach out to them, you don't know if they're going to respond or if they're going to want to work with you because they're on a different area or whatever the case may be. And so you're like, you know what, I'm going to email them anyway. I'm going to see if they want to work on this with me. Actively doing that work, it's so important because you'll find that doors open for you in that way as well. So it's a great time to do like that blockbuster candles, to do road opening work as well, and just to help you like clear the funk. But I highly recommend working with the water element for this, specifically working with the ancestors specifically for this moon as well, because it just needs to be like, there's space that needs to be held. There's just space that needs to be held. Lastly, Saturn square Uranus. And this is going to be like, this is definitely a generational, groundbreaking energy when it comes to how we're all moving through together, how we're evolving together, how we're shifting, especially when it comes to the finances and money. One of the things that you should be working on for this moon as well is any type of financial, like work, any type of debt. Okay, that needs to be released and worked on. Great moon to work on it as well. Not necessarily like money drawing candles. I'm talking about like releasing debt in the family, doing some like blessings for the home, blessings for the entire family type of work, releasing any type of trauma, financial trauma that was inflicted in the past as well. So there's definitely like a ton that can be worked on for this specific moon. Okay, now let's dive into the cards. I'm gonna start with Santa Muerte's messages, and I only picked 2 cards for this. I only asked her for 2, and the card she gave me is a Reina de Copas, which is the Queen of Cups, and the 2 of Pentacles, which you guys know is balance. There's a lot that can be had if you actively like try to emotionally balance your world, if you try to nurture your world by seeking balance within the physical world. And that's the message that she's really coming through. And even the bottom of the deck, you have the Ace of Swords and the Emperor. And the bottom of the deck for our other cards is the Emperor card. We still have the underlining energy of that Aries energy. And I told you guys, Aries starts off the astrological year with this new year. So the planet is like, okay, new year, who this? What are you working on? How are you working on yourself? How are you setting yourself up for success? This is what it is. How are you emotionally setting yourself up for success? So then you're not worried about X, Y, Z, and B. You're not caught up in the funk. You're not like stuck in X, Y, Z. How are you setting yourself up for success? Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. How are you doing that? And it all comes down to balance and tapping in emotionally, working through your emotions, understanding how your emotions are guiding you to do deeper work as well. So it's deeper. It's just deeper work. It's deeper work. You have to dive in, and you also can go ahead and pull cards for this day for yourself as far as what area of your life you should be working with. But I highly recommend looking at your own transits to see where this energy is being triggered for you. Okay. Now, our main cards for this moon, we have the King of Wands, the 7 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups, okay? And then we have the Knight of Wands and the 8 of Wands. Okay, and this is what I mean about where you revisit, where you look back to nurture your, especially because again, we're on that Aries journey. We just started the astrological year. It's like new year, who dis energy. Okay, so we're starting off this journey. We're starting off and looking at what needs to be done, and we're setting intention for so many different things. We're reevaluating some seeds that were planted and things that are growing actively in our garden, and we're saying, okay, I don't want this. I want this. This can stay. This is not working for me anymore. And so what does that bring? How do we do that? We do that by seeing what we're actively going to water, how we're actively going to nurture our garden, our life's garden, especially with the intentions that we have been trying to feed it. How are we actively trying to do that? And it all comes down to setting that intention, watering our intentions, nurturing our intentions, making room and space for our intentions, and watching how those choices create action within our lives, create new opportunities, wave of new opportunities, whether it be through like messages, connecting with the people, like just opening up different ways. Like it's a really, really powerful time to do that work and to set yourself up for success right now, okay? We also have oracle cards. Okay, we have the snake and the crossroads. Okay, we have return to sacred, fertile new road, and time to replenish. Okay, we have all of this new energy. Okay, this is like that rebirth energy. Okay, that transfer, that like that phoenix phase that Scorpio goes through, where they come out and they're like, okay, I am anew now. And there's this question of, are you going to still hold on to the toxicity, or are you going to choose a better road for you? Okay, because we are on that journey. I just told you guys, we're on this Aries journey. We're going through, we're looking at what we value and what we want to keep for the rest of the year, how we're setting ourselves up for success in the work that needs to be done. And at the end of the day, are you going to keep the toxicity there? Are you going to keep things that don't actively help to your journey? Are you going to actually keep that energy just stagnant in your life? Are you? Because I want to know. There's this time, okay, there's this energy, especially, you see how it says return to the sacred? 1000% ancestor work. Ancestor work is something that we actively need to be doing and need to be connecting to moving forward, period. Especially for those who are like baby witches watching this, I need y'all to do some ancestor work. If you are, following me from TikTok, I've been talking about ancestor work quite a lot. We need to make sure that we're doing things in order, in the way that it needs to be done. We can't just ignore certain aspects of our own spiritual journey and expect everything to work out for us, because that's just not how it's going to work. When you return to sacred, when you are holding space and saying, okay, I can see where these toxicities need to be healed, where certain things need to be healed, I need to make a choice as far as leaving the toxicity there, or moving into a new, so that not only I can be successful, but my family can grow. The collective energies that are tied by blood can grow within my own family bloodline. So it's a really, really powerful time to do that work. We're getting fertile new road, fertile new role. Okay, really, really, really powerful time, especially to manifest for the future, to focus on the rest of the year. I'm telling you, it's just a beautiful time. It's just a beautiful time to do that work and time to replenish. Because why? When you're doing that work, especially when, again, the moon is a water moon. What are you doing to the earth? Your own root chakra. You have to water it, right? You have to show up. You have to do the work in order to receive, to bear fruit from your labor. Scorpio is a water sign, so it taps you in and connects you to the water energy. So you have to actively choose to replenish the things, to water the things that you want to see grow, and to cut the weeds off the things that have created stagnation within your life, that are just not creating any balance or growth anymore. From Archangel Raphael, we have diet is important and avoid allergens. And by avoid allergens, this is also not only because like it's springtime, but it's important to, when you choose what like a new direction, like if you chose to like start a new like, let's say you wanted to go vegan, or you just wanted to choose something else, but one of your friends always, every time you hung out with them, you end up eating, like you pig out, you eat really, really, really bad, then you might want to avoid the things that are costing you, to kind of fall into some of those darker habits, because they're just not healthy for you. And then from the Divine Feminine Oracle deck, we have the Patroness of Miraculous Healing. I am ready to heal. I am worthy of the miracles meant for me. We have Mystic of Divine Love. Love is divine and I am nothing except love. And we have, I am my authentic self in all circumstances. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're in this alignment, that we are okay, that we make sure that we're going through that transformation. So we're setting ourselves up for success so that nothing else can stand in our way. We're just good to go. We're ready for the rest of the year and every energies that's coming ahead. We're ready for the summertime. We're not like stagnant about X, Y, Z, and B. Make sure you're setting yourself up for success. It literally starts when you mentally decide and you say, hey, okay, I recognize I gotta stop. Let me not do that anymore. I can't. Let me just stop. So anyway, that is the message for the Scorpio moon. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Do not forget to subscribe and do all of the YouTube stuff. Ring the bell to stay notified. You can go ahead and hit the join button if you want to be a channel member, and you can go ahead if you want to be a Patreon member. You can hit the link down below. If you want to get any of the cards that I used today, the link, all of the links to the cards will be down below, so you guys can purchase them if you want to. And yeah, I will see you loves in the next video. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.